Hello everyone, this is Eric with GameBall, the gaming trackball mouse. Apologies for not putting out a video recently, been rather busy with the release of GameBall. But I thought I'd put one out there, give you a quick update on where we're at with the GameBall project, how the release went, and then we'll spend some time playing New World. I want to give you my impressions and then how I use GameBall within game, the button mapping, that type of thing. So first off, if you're new to the channel or not new to what GameBall is, this here is GameBall. It is a trackball mouse designed for gaming. In fact, it's the only trackball mouse designed for gaming, and we released it recently. Being a trackball, you roll the ball around as opposed to moving the whole unit around. And a trackball gives you for those people who either prefer trackballs or have mobility issues, wrist, back, finger pain, and that prevents them from using a regular mouse, or like I mentioned, weirdos like me that just prefer to use a trackball mouse. So that's what GameBall is. Like I said, we just released it recently. We had a limited edition version that we sold out of, and now we're selling the standard edition. So that's what GameBall is. Give you a quick update overall on the project. I'd say the launch was really positive. We had some good feedback, very supportive community. We had some issues with selling out of units, which I guess is a good problem to have. The launch wasn't perfect. We definitely had some problems, but I'd say those issues were fairly minor, and the ones that we could correct, we did correct. So I've been happy with that. We're starting to see more influencers review it. You'll see some other videos out there on YouTube, and for the most part, those have been positive. So the focus right now is keeping the standard edition GameBall in stock, and we sold out a limited edition pretty quickly, faster than we anticipated, and now we're ramping up production for the standard edition. If you do go to the website and we are out of stock, it's just temporary until we can get more units back in stock. So that's where we're at with the production. If actually, before I go on, if you did notice, I'm using a yellow ball here. The limited edition was a red ball, had a red ball. The standard edition has a black ball, and this is of course yellow. We are working on a kit to sell 3 different color balls. It'd be yellow, silver, and blue, and we're working on try to get that out for the holidays. We may expand to more colors, but that's been the feedback so far as far as what people would like to see in a kit containing different color balls. So that's why you see a yellow one in front of you there. So like I mentioned, the focus is ramping up production and keeping the units in stock. We do have plans to expand. We have plans for a pro version. We have plans for a thumb version. Those designs, I would say, are fairly far along, but we're not at a point where we can share those yet. So it's still something that we would like to release, but we're just not quite there yet. And more information will be coming as we get it available. At least until it'll be at least until next year until you can see those available. So that's the expansion as far as additional products. We also want to move into different areas. We want to expand into Asia Pacific and other parts of the world, but we simply aren't there yet. We don't have the infrastructure, the support infrastructure, the right certifications to do all that. So the focus right now is the core standard GameBall product and getting that ramped up and produced. And then, like I said, we're focusing on the thumb version, the pro version, and then expanding into other regions. So that's a real quick update on GameBall and kind of where we're at. So let's talk about New World. And that's the game I've been running around in and I'm playing at the moment. So what is New World? New World is a mass multiplayer online role-playing game, similar to your World of Warcraft and those type of games, where you're on a server with a bunch of other people, completing quests, leveling up, and doing different tasks and playing with your buddies usually. The game is set in the mid-17th century, where you're trying to colonize a fictional island called Eternum. The island has magic, monsters, undead. You can fight against all these things, or you can fight against other players as well. There's a PvP element as well as a PvE element. So PvP, player versus player, PvE, player versus environment. So whether or not you want to fight real people or if you want to play against the AI monsters. And they do a pretty good job, I'd say, of blending the two. You can toggle that on and off at kind of how you'd like. And I think they've done a pretty good job. I need to help this guy out here. He probably can handle it, but just to be safe. So the game is pretty good. You know, you start on an island, on the island shipwrecked. You're at level 1, and you can progress all the way to level 60. You know, it has classes in the game, but it's kind of, for the most part, let me show you here. Your classes are really dependent on the weapon that you use. So if you use a sword, you'll go up with experience with your sword, and you'll unlock abilities. If you use a great axe, and you know, you see I use those two, you'll go up in experience for that particular item, and you'll unlock special abilities for that. The special abilities are pretty important in this game. That's where you do most of your damage. So it's you know, if you really want to get good, you want to try to focus on 1 or 2 weapons. In your layout, you can use 2 weapons here as your weapon slots, and try as much as possible level both of them. What a lot of people will do is they will use like a ranged weapon and then a melee weapon, depending on the type of thing that you're fighting. So that can be kind of handy. Looks like I had an item drop over here. Can't leave that alone. Gotta go get it. There we go. So it does have classes, but it really is dependent on the type of weapons that you're using. It does have attributes as well. So it has your strength, dexterity, intelligence, focus, and each one of those will have an impact on the type of weapons that you're using, whether or not you're using, say, a fire staff or a musket or a bow. You know, be focused more on dexterity. Because I'm using a sword and a great axe, I have most of my points in strength and a little bit in constitution to give me a few more hit points. So, you know, the game isn't that much different from, you know, like I mentioned, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, all these MMORPGs that have come before it. You know, I'd say the game isn't revolutionary, but I'd say it's done well, and it's incorporated some nice elements from a lot of these other games. So it's something that I would definitely recommend. I'm having fun with it. The quality is good. It did have a few issues early on, you know, specifically around queues and wait times for people. Got stuck there on a tree. But I think for the most part they've resolved those. I haven't had to queue up on my server for quite some time, and from what I've read is the queues have gotten a lot better in just about all the regions. They opened up quite a few additional servers pretty quickly, so that was good. So the game is like a theme park design. So what you have is, you know, similar to other games, you have these different areas, and some of them are levels 1 through 25, some of them are levels 26 through 35, and then as you progress and you go up in level, you kind of go to these different areas. That's kind of that theme park design, and it works pretty well. It's a tried and true recipe, and you know, it's been successful, so that's what they use here. There are warring factions, which is why you see a green, a purple, and a gold. So those are the different factions within the game. That has a strong PvP element, but it does have impacts on your PvE play as well. You know, it's something that if you choose to participate, you can. If you choose not to, you can play just the player versus environment and still have a good time. Like I mentioned, they do a pretty good job of blending the both, so you can always just decide if you want to switch between the two as you go. So I'd say my impressions, like I mentioned, it's very well done. I really like the action combat. I think they did an excellent job with that. It's not just your auto target and wait for your timers to cool down and, you know, and press the next button. It's fairly active. You know, you have dodging. You know, I'm using heavy armor, so my dodge is kind of basic. But if you're, you know, a dexterity-based character with light armor, you have like full rolls and things. You know, you have to kind of target the creatures that you're fighting. You have to spend a little bit of time, you know, actually trying to hit those creatures, and they do dodge out of the way as well. So it's something that it's pretty active, and I like that part of it. I'd say that's one of the highlights of the game. I think the game just looks good. I mean, what you're seeing here is, you know, a kind of a swampy area, but I'd say the graphics are really well done. Of course, there's better games out there graphically. But for a mass multiplayer, this might be one of the best ones out there, at least at the moment. I think they did a really good job there. So I like the leveling system. You know, you level fairly at a good pace. You know, it's not too grindy. Stuck on a boulder there. But it's something that you know, you feel like you're moving along and making progress, and it's not too slow of a grind, which is good. And then as you level, you get to put points in your abilities, and they come at a pretty good pace. You're not waiting forever to get your abilities. You get them kind of as you go and learn those, and then unlock other ones. So I think the pacing of the leveling is really well done. I'm happy with that. It's a $40 game, and for $40 you are definitely going to get your value out of it. It's I think you'll get quite a few hours, even if you don't play it all the way to the end and do all the expeditions and all the end game content or even any PvP. I still think you'll get a lot of value out of the game. So definitely would recommend it, and worth a buy for $40. There's no pay to win element. The game is they have a cosmetic shop where you can change like this is a cosmetic hat I have, but there's no pay to win element. There's nothing that's going to help you level faster or make you stronger. It's really just all cosmetic stuff. So it's good that way. Like I said, there's still a few minor bugs in the game. It's not perfect, but no game breaking bugs. They released it with a few things that they haven't corrected since beta. But I would say that those are fairly small, and I'm sure that they will get those corrected as they go. Some of the other cons I would have with it is the questing can be a little grindy. It's oh, I missed that guy. It's a little slow at times in the sense of the overall progression. It's not bad. I think you level fine as far as as you get your skills and everything, but the quests themselves are just definitely a little bland and can be a little bit boring and a little dry. So that part of it can be a little bit repetitive. Just wants to fight me, doesn't he? Let me finish him off. But the cons are fairly small. Like I said, a few minor bugs. There's definitely some more content that needs to be added. They've talked about adding more expeditions. That's the dungeons in the game, and a few other features. So they need more content, especially at the higher level. But I'm fairly confident that they'll get there. One other little gripe I would have about the game is some of the PvP elements are a little restrictive. They have these large scale wars between the factions, and if you are not in one of those guilds that controls one of those cities, you can be left out of some of those wars. So some of the content might not be available to you unless you're in one of the higher end guilds. So that'd be a con, but like I mentioned, these are all fairly small things. I would still highly recommend the game. I think it's very well done, especially for the $40. So let me talk about how I have GameBall set up. You've seen me kind of running around and playing the game, so let me show you my settings and button assignments. So like most of my games, my ring finger here is my right click, and my thumb is my left click. So that's the primary button assignments that I have. And then I steer the ball with my index finger and middle finger for the most part. Sometimes I'll take my middle finger off, but for the most part I keep those two fingers on the ball. The scroll pad, right here if you want to scroll in and scroll out. So the button assignments, again, your left click is your light attack for just a quick click, or you can press and hold to do a heavy attack. And then your right mouse button is if you have a shield out, we'll do a block, and if you have a musket or bow, that's how you aim down the sights, is with your right mouse button. So you hold that button down to block, for example. So the other buttons on here, the middle mouse button on this side, that's is kind of an alert system. So if you want to tell people there's danger or there's something to need help with something, you can do that. It's handier in your large scale PvP battles or in a larger group to just kind of signals, especially if there's a lot of people on and you don't want to use voice commands. So that's what I use the middle mouse button for. My far right pinky button, that's this guy over here, is for my map. So I press that and it brings up the map. You'll see I probably did that a bunch of times already in this video. There's no mini map on the screen. It's a complaint that some people have had. So you will be opening up your map a lot, and to do so, what I map that to an easy button where I can just quickly bring up the map and I can move around and kind of see where I'm going. So that's my far right button there. The top left button, I don't have a great assignment for that at the moment. It's just to put my weapons away or take my weapons out. Not great. I'm thinking about remapping that. If you guys have some ideas or using GameBall for New World, let me know. I thought about doing an attack with that button, but at the moment it's kind of boring. It's just take my weapon out and put my weapon away. So those are the button assignments for GameBall. You can set them up fairly easy. You just go into your settings. You can remap just about everything. Most of your ability buttons are on your keyboard. Q, E, F, R. Those are kind of your ability buttons. And when you're fighting a guy, you're using your lot ability. So that's an ability. That's an ability. I'm going to switch weapons with the keyboard. That's an ability, and that's an ability. So most of your attack damage is through your weapon abilities, and it's something that it's a little bit more active combat, which I like. You can definitely attack a guy and just use light attacks and heavy attacks, but it's just not going to be as effective. So if you want to clear mobs a lot quicker, you're going to use your abilities. Try as much as possible to switch between your weapons. Like I said, I switch kind of between the two here. That way it helps level them. It also works out some good combos. Like what I did there is I stunned him and then attacked him from behind, and my execute ability on my great axe does more damage if I attack from behind. So it's kind of a combo. But that'll allow you to level up your weapons a lot quicker if you're using both of them. If you're just using one, that one will obviously level a little faster, but I'd recommend trying to level both as much as you can. So that's the button assignments. That's kind of how I play. Like I said, I'd recommend it. It's definitely better with friends. It's a solid game. It's been very popular. Like I said, the queues can tell you that even Amazon underestimated the overall demand for the game. So it's something that I would recommend. Get some buddies, get on a server. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. So anyway, that's where we're at with GameBall, and that's New World. I wanted to thank everyone who's supported the project so far. Like I said, I've been blown away by the demand and the excitement associated with GameBall, so thank you all very much for that. The product seems to have filled a gap in a very underserved community, so I've been encouraged to see that. So thank you all for the time today and watching the video, and we will talk soon.